The year was 2008, and Call of Duty was all everyone wanted to talk about. You couldn't escape the news of how great Modern Warfare was, and if you played during this era, then it's the only news you wanted to hear. This was considered the start of the golden age for Call of Duty, and Infinity Ward led the charge in pushing the first-person shooter genre much further. Traditionally, Call of Duty was known for its gritty, atmospheric, and unfiltered look at war with characters you knew not to get attached to, as they would most definitely be killed. You weren't some action hero. You were a part of a group of other soldiers with a mission and an objective. It can be hard to believe, but this was the roots of Call of Duty, and with the series having 18 games in the main line, this gets lost sometimes in its history. Nowadays, the series has gone fully into embracing absurdity, even having Godzilla and King Kong fight each other. But back in those days, it was all about preserving the brutal history of war. Modern Warfare dropped with the first modern-day story. You were a soldier, but you had a name that really stuck.
Right. What the hell kind of name is Soap, eh?
There was an emphasis on stealth instead of big-scale battle, just as there were truth-facing realities of war and large-scale set pieces that make the game feel larger. Call of Duty 4 was not just a campaign though, it was the biggest success Activision and Infinity Ward could have ever hoped for in its multiplayer. A full incentivized leveling system with perks to unlock, challenges for skins, and prestige ranks to acquire. This was my first online game ever, and I played it with my brother. So I was getting called a squeaker and other gamer words not knowing what they meant, which had me in a goofy and cheesy smile the whole time. There were no Forge or custom games like Halo, so players made their own fun like Michael Myers, Cops and Robbers, and no-scope battles. In this era, the best strategies were found on the fingertips of an 11-year-old with an unregistered hypercam at 480p. Modern Warfare was a major victory and still has maps that Activision is remastering or repurposing to this day. So, how would Activision ride the monumental success of Modern Warfare? Yeah, we're going right back to World War II. Activision and Treyarch worked together to bring World at War to life in 2008. The community was equally happy as it was angry that Activision was going back to World War II. Some loved the comfortable feel of this for Call of Duty's gameplay, and others loved how COD 4 pushed the series forward. Treyarch was behind World at War with Infinity Ward working on Modern Warfare 2. The campaign of World at War was obviously closer to Call of Duty 3 than it was Modern Warfare, but it still featured many of the tropes introduced in Modern Warfare, and all those damn grenades every time you took cover. The attention to detail in the campaign stands the test of time, and the game had probably the most underrated soundtrack I've ever listened to. Seriously, just have a listen. I can remember getting the game for Christmas and not seeing anything about it on YouTube yet, just seeing the commercials of a new Call of Duty. I opened it up and literally jumped up and down, ran to my Xbox 360, planted the flag at the end of the campaign, beat the campaign, and saw this. That's when my love for Call of Duty and this new mode, Nazi Zombies, began. On Nacht Der Untoten, Night of the Living Dead. We may be used to gigantic maps with huge Easter eggs and a storyline that spanned multiple games, even some incredible fan-made maps in the workshop. But in 2008, this mode was a great experiment more than anything, and it wasn't even supposed to happen. Activision wanted a Nazi tower defense mode, as Jason Blundell describes in an interview in the original development.
During this time, everyone was doing tower defense, and there was a part of one of the airfield maps in the campaign where the Nazis got bombed. So they'd emerged from the bombing on fire, walking forward, and we all began to think they look like zombies. And we had this idea of, well, what if they just come through the smoke and then you have to fight them? Slowly, different departments began to put the mode together largely in their free time, of which there was very little to spare since Treyarch and Activision were trying to get World at War out of the door. I think the next group that got involved was animation. They said, I can give you some help on that, let me give you some stuff. Then the sound department supplied the mode. It started to get fleshed out from there. Different groups came by, saw it, and said, I can make little textures and tweaks.
Zombies was a passion project on the side, and it didn't really fit the tone of World at War's serious one. So Treyarch started sneaking Activision heads out to lunch to get them to try zombies. And what do you know? They were addicted.
It was decided that we'd put it as a mode unlocked after the campaign. There'd be no marketing behind it at all, and as an outsider, I will credit that single decision the reason why zombies became so popular. Because we didn't push it, we did not talk about it, we didn't do anything. So the community owned it.
For this series of COD Zombies, I will be exploring each game with the goal to end at Black Ops 3, but if we like covering further, or if you guys like these videos, I may keep going. If the maps are smaller, they'll be bunched into a larger video. If they're bigger maps, have an Easter egg story worth covering, or their story in general is just much larger, they will get a video of their own. As you can understand, this series will take some time for each map to get the respect it deserves. So sit back, crack a gamer subs using code Evan, and get comfy. And enjoy the series, man. That laugh scared the hell out of me as a kid, and I can remember the map as a whole scaring me too. This map, Nacht Der Untoten, or Night of the Living Dead, was also a part of the zombies craze that would dominate the 2000s and the 2010s. But zombies weren't as washed out as they are now, so this was downright terrifying. Nacht Der Untoten would get 4 remasters and 2 very obvious nods in future Call of Duty titles. And with how simple this map is, you may wonder why. Other than the obvious, well, it was the first, this map is responsible for so many zombie staples, like the weapons on the wall, the areas to be unlocked for points, building windows, the mystery box, Zombie Hitler, and more. Oh, what, you don't remember Zombie Hitler? We'll get to that boss soon. Nacht Der Untoten only had 3 rooms: the starting room, the help room, and the upstairs, which had 2 paths to reach the same place. But goddamn, you never wanted to open those stairs from the starting room. This map was also very creepy, with the sounds of the mist looming in, the zombies groaning, the cracks of fire on the burnt down areas around. You could tell that in Zombies' infancy, it was trying to tread the water between serious and arcade fun. It pays homage to George Romero's Night of the Living Dead film in the best way Call of Duty can. Nacht Der Untoten also had something that wasn't too common outside the map: explosive barrels that could be shot to kill zombies before they even breach the windows, making it really feel like the last safe fortress from this zombie takeover, and your inevitable death. As points were gathered and the help room was unlocked, for 950 points, the mystery box containing just about everything from Call of Duty World at War was able to be opened. A shuffle of weapons were there, but only one gun was never featured in the game before. The first of many wonder weapons called the raygun. Yeah, sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I am being told the raygun was in the game through, well, just watch the Easter egg.
Pretty much you go to the level Little Resistance. After you have bombed the beach, you need to make your way onto it and you'll see a couple of craters on the ground. Now you need to step in the one that's on the right side, you then need to make your way to one in the middle, then make your way to this small one that's like a little bit diagonally away from it. I don't know if that one is needed, but I just do that one anyway. And then finally you need to go to one that's at the back left side and stand in that one for about 10 seconds. Eventually the screen will shake and you'll hear an earthquake. You'll then start hearing a mysterious voice you won't understand, and then 4 Shisa statues will pop up out of the ground in front of you and carry a ray gun in their mouth, and you'll be able to use that throughout the whole level. This is what the voice sounds like.
This raygun Easter egg with the puddle jumping was just something fun a developer snuck into the game, and Treyarch was really mad about it at first. But now that time has passed, I think the world is grateful for this developer secret. Also, it turns out that Reddit user Solaris, through some data mining, was able to find the original audio. So yeah, this was just scrubbed up basic Japanese soldier lines. Still so odd though. Well anyways, the guns of the game were all available in the box, and the raygun was the gun everyone wanted to have. This gun was also a bit different from future installments of it, being able to knock yourself down easily and without perks to save yourself. The raygun was and probably still is the most iconic zombies weapon, and it's still a mystery where it came from. Some think it was an H.G. Wells inspiration from the War of the Worlds with the heat ray. If you guys do want a video on the raygun itself, be sure to leave me a comment. Its story is a lot deeper than I think anyone gives it credit for. The other weapon that isn't too common in future installments, but not a wonder weapon, was the flamethrower, with its infinite ammo, but a massive cooldown on using it. The mystery box served to not only get people hyped at seeing the raygun and other weapons pop up, it also made weapons that people weren't using in multiplayer have a huge place in zombies. The MG42, for example, wasn't a multiplayer gun the way the Thompson was, but you bet your ass I'd rather use the MG42 in zombies. As the rounds went up and you needed more shots at the box, as you were running out of ammo, you had two options. You could make a crawler, which was a zombie blown apart so it could only crawl slow and repair some windows in the meantime, or you could pray for a max ammo. Max ammo is one of a few drops from zombies. Drops were random modifiers the game blessed you with, which made the mode less organized and less predictable. These drops could get you out of a pinch in an instant, with max ammo refilling your guns, insta-kill, well, I don't need to explain that one, double points, and the nuke. The final drop and the most clutch in higher rounds. The nuke killed all the zombies and gave the person who grabbed it 400 points if 6 or more zombies were alive. A weird quip that only stayed in World at War. The nuke was helpful and not helpful. If you needed it, it was a saving grace. And if you wanted to farm points off of zombies, it wasn't worth your time at all. These drops and points are what helped establish zombies as an arcade mode. And decision making like when to grab the nuke, when to grab double points, how to take advantage of insta-kill with knifing, were all a part of establishing a nice skill gap for zombies. But the atmosphere was still eerie, so it struck a perfect balance of horror and fun, making it the next massive hit for Activision that they didn't know about, and for Treyarch, something they were so passionate and excited to make had finally been given some life. As the levels went up and the difficulty increased, this map had no perks and players were lost on how to reach Zombie Hitler, until a new method was born. Running trains of zombies around with a gun that didn't require ammo. The raygun may have been the wonder weapon, but if we were going to get Zombie Hitler, we needed the flamethrower. Running this train in the starting room was ambitious, as there wasn't juggernog in the game. Yet. After running trains for seemingly hours and zombies pouring out of every window, once you hit level 100, there he was. Sporting the body of a Giga Chad, and in a mech suit that Darth Vader would be jealous of. He just wanted a single smooch, and by God, you are going to deliver. After kissing Zombie Hitler passionately, players attained every single perk in the game, and a demo disc to the next zombies map. And, oh fine, that's not what happened. Zombie Hitler was probably one of the last lunch table myths in modern day gaming. The main reason so many people actually believed that this was the case was because nobody could make it to round 100 back then. High round attempts were considered in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. 50 was unbelievable for most people. So when someone claiming they fought a Hitler zombie on round 100 appeared on the forums, no one could refute it. You gotta remember that it's 2008. The internet is all word of mouth, and YouTube is still being established. It was the ultimate goal after all, and zombies had to have an end, right? It couldn't just be infinite rounds until you died. The lunch table myths may have gone by the wayside nowadays, with the most recent one that I can recount being the Nier Automata door that we covered. But I wish these stories were more common again. I think it just made me more excited to jump into games, knowing that there was potentially more magic to be found than what was on the map already. Speaking of that, there was no major Easter egg, but it doesn't mean there weren't Easter eggs. If you shot the radio in the help room, it played these songs. Okay, so Nacht Der Untoten didn't have a ton of Easter eggs, but other maps definitely did in World at War, and a lot of them you may not know about. So speaking of other maps, let's get to the most horrifying map, and a tough one at that, Verruckt.
Here they come!
Verruckt was released as a part of the first of 3 map packs for World at War on March 11th of 2009. This map was scary, and it knew it was scary, starting the player off meeting one of our 4 eventual main cast, Tank Dempsey, and his soldiers John Banana, Smokey, and Paxton Gunner Ridge. They arrived at Group 935's Asylum facility located at the Wittenau Sanatorium in Berlin. This is in Germany in 1945, and they need to extract American spy Peter McCain to safety. They find it overrun by zombies and try to fight off the horde as long as they can. If played in a team of 4, players would start off split 2 and 2, needing to activate the power switch to get back to each other. The power switch was brand new, and it had many functions like perks and traps being switched on. The perk jingles alone should have been the indicator that these machines were going to be iconic, making everyone in PvP go from hating Juggernaut to loving Juggernog. More health recovery added to take more hits. Speed cola for fast reloads, quick revive for rezzing your teammates almost instantly, and one we don't really want to grab in World at War, double tap. Double tap just went through ammo fast and didn't help a lot in the damage department. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't that good, and it wouldn't be buffed until much later in the series either. Verruckt just nailed the atmosphere the same way Nacht Der Untoten did, and it was so spooky that I can remember rushing to the power to meet up with the full squad and not be on my own. The mystery box also had something new, a teddy bear. A glitch, some might call it.
Bro, it just flew into the ceiling. I'm not lying.
Wait, you're telling me a teddy bear came out of that box and flew into the fucking ceiling?
A teddy bear just flew into the ceiling. I'll put it in the second that they clip it.
What the fuck was that noise?
It just did it again. The teddy bear went to the ceiling again.
What teddy bear?
The teddy bear was put in place to support a larger map, having multiple spots where the box could be after a range of attempts to hit the box were made, refunding the players points but laughing at them on the way out. Verruckt, just like Nacht, had no Easter egg hunt, but it did have plenty of eggs that are worth mentioning. Not only was it the sounds of the interactable objects, there was a radio comms voice in the power room saying seemingly random numbers.
4, 8, 15, 16.
But it was 2009, and Lost was still a popular show, so the voice was just saying the famous numbers. Another Easter egg was the numbers on the walls near Speed Cola. 1938, 2406. June 6, 1938 was the same date a meteorite hit the town of Chicora, Pennsylvania, and it's just the developers having some fun with the tone and fitting it around the era of zombies. But I think it's cool. The 921 is a Bible verse, Jeremiah. Another weird part of Verruckt was in the fountain. For some reason, and by no clipping, the only way you could see this, there were MG42s inside of the fountain. The final Easter egg was the song from flushing the toilet 3 times, which had such a sick guitar riff. Fun fact I didn't know until recording this video is that Alina Siegman and Kevin Sherwood just both worked for Treyarch. And yeah, they have great music, but they weren't well-known artists other than this, as far as I know. Verruckt also brought in power traps that could kill zombies that passed through, and it definitely tested a player's ability to shine. Previously, Nacht was an experiment, but Verruckt was the first true zombies experience. I think the feeling of fear from this map wasn't just the tone and atmosphere, it was the claustrophobic hallways, the tight corners that were only a zombie wide, the non-symmetrical level design, the grainy visuals in the original, and the haunting sounds all around. Well, that and the real fear was this bar room with bipod bar for some reason costing 2,500 points. Oh, and the zombies were really aggressive here, adding to that claustrophobia. Verruckt was scary, it was unique, it was trolly with that room, and it was a true first zombies map. Thanks, Verruckt, you were special. If Verruckt took place in the same spot as the Ring of Steel mission from the campaign, not taking place in the Hard Landing building for its map, then where would Shi No Numa take place? How about a completely new location and not against Nazi zombies, instead against Japanese Imperial zombies in Okinawa under the Empire of Japan? Zombies was clearly here to stay for Treyarch, and with a new location separate from anything else in the game, Activision was clearly all in too. This side project made in the after hours and skipping lunch breaks was now all anyone wanted, and Treyarch provided. Tank Dempsey was here, but he was joined by a whole cast of characters, all with different motives and from opposing sides of World War II. This is what would be known as the Ultimis crew to the COD community later on, but in World at War, this wasn't the same massive fleshed out story. It did have hints, and it was being written as we were learning about the maps. The first thing to note here is that Shi No Numa was mostly an outdoor map, so instead of defending yourself in a building from the outside horde, you'd be attacking zombies as they sprouted from the ground. There were some weird new features here, like the flogger for launching zombies, the zipline to escape a potential horde, random perk spawns in each of the rooms so you were never just comfortable with one side, and swampy water to slow you down. The power wasn't needed here, it was already on, and power is what was given to that one lucky teammate if they hit the box just right. The power of Zeus and Thor was placed inside of the Wunderwaffe DG2, the second wonder weapon and debatably the best wonder weapon ever made. I am curious to know which is your favorite wonder weapon ever made though, so leave me a comment. The Wunderwaffe electrocuted and instantly killed all zombies with little ammo used, and was essential for high round zombies players. That was another piece of history with this map. The first time high rounds were more commonly achievable, and the ease this map had. World at War worked by having 24 zombies max spawn per round, and at the comm side room, a player could run an easy circle for the Wunderwaffe to train and kill 24 zombies at once. Thus, the rounds became easier. Don't get it twisted though, this map may have had one strategy that worked, but it doesn't mean it was easy to play other than that. Well, there was also this glitch. Shi No Numa had 4 paths: the comm room, which we just talked about, the fishing hut, the doctor's quarters, and the storage hut. Storage had heavy swamp water and a suspicious meteorite that we would later find out turned these people into zombies, containing the element 115. The doctor's quarters had the zip line, the fishing hut had the flogger, and the comms room had this.
I have nothing left to kill them with!
Yeah, that still creeps me out. Shi No Numa was pretty normal run-of-the-mill zombies. Until Dogs. Don't get me wrong, these cute little guys are adorable, but also, I want max ammo, so we're gonna shred through them. Dogs had a predetermined player they were attached to and would always chase that player, but after they were all dead and the mist was cleared, max ammo was guaranteed. Not only was this innovative in the parts we've been over so far, Shi No Numa also gave us the first full character look the series ever had. Hank Dempsey,
Dempsey!
Nikolai Belinsky,
Nikolai!
Takeo Masaki,
Takeo!
and Dr. Edward Richtofen,
Richtofen!
voiced by Nolan North, the voice of the ghost in Destiny. Okay, there's your Destiny crossover, stop asking for it. The story goes that a group named Division 9 made this a base of operations and started work with the meteorite, the creation of the raygun, and more. Sparing the details because it gets really confusing, all 4 of the main cast of characters come together to take out the Horde. And then there's this hangman. This is the Peter that Dempsey was searching for in Verruckt, and he hung himself here. I'm not sure if this was planned out story-wise at the time, or to give the map a spooky atmosphere. I'll let you decide that for yourself, but I am sure of something. In World at War, if you grenade Peter enough times to knock him down, you get a game over screen. Hey, we always wanted a way to end the matches, I guess. Peter may have been a glitch or a weird Easter egg to end the game, and the story may have started small, but it was only going to expand as time went on. I love the way the radio voice communicated to Peter. It revved up that horror and atmosphere of zombies. Have a listen.
R-4808N 371406 115 4840.
I hope you're receiving this transmission, Peter. If you are not, then all is already lost. You must know by now that we failed to contain the Asylum, and now we had to move the experiment here. Location. The numbers will guide you.
Funny enough, the coordinates the radio lists are Area 51 and Tunguska. I also love how this radio message teases the next map.
The giant must remain at all costs. Repeat, Der Riese must remain safe at all costs.
Just so good, Treyarch. This is so good. Sticky grenades were also cut content from Shi No Numa, and not added for whatever reason. And the voice lines attached to sticky kills can be heard from getting headshots instead.
Oh, this is gonna turn him into red mist!
Shi No Numa was the first major step in the story of zombies, and served to push zombies past a thought experiment and a side piece of World at War. Zombies was now Treyarch's champion, and you know what? For World at War, Shi No Numa was my champion. It came out on the first day of my summer, in the beginning of my love for FPSs online with my friends, and I can't tell you how much this map meant to me. Hats off to you, Shi No Numa. This is the one everybody talks about. This is the map that probably held up the best from World at War. Der Riese. Der Riese released on August 6th of 2009 and used pieces of the map Nightfire to construct it. But I would go out and say that Nightfire may have used pieces of Der Riese instead because this map was just that magical. Der Riese keeps our cast from the previous map and places them right at the heart of where zombies started. The Factory of Invention, messing with 115, the original location of wonder weapons. Der Riese just slaps. Right away, players start in front of a machine named Pack-a-Punch, and right away, they would notice the power switch needed to be turned on again, just like Verruckt. This map featured the same wonder weapons from before, but this time a monkey bomb. In the visual design department for the monkey bomb, Treyarch definitely went for the Dumb Jimmy episode of Jimmy Neutron with the monkey symbol toy. In the functionality department, it's the pipe bomb from Left 4 Dead. These were a massive staple and would continue to be in just about every map going forward. Monkeys had two uses on the map. One use was to get out of a sticky situation and res a teammate or save yourself. The other, well, we'll talk about that when the time comes. Just like it was a major step forward in map design and innovations, Treyarch also made an update to the engine with Riese to make it one of the hardest, if not the hardest, high round zombies map by simply increasing the amount of zombie spawns there were per round, and the health. This would continue to be the trend, but Riese made the update to stop the conversations of ease that Shi No Numa had. Once you opened up each lab, there was a teleporter at the back that needed a link to Pack-a-Punch. So a quick race back one by one, each porter opened Pack-a-Punch. These teleporters always had quirky little flashes of images, and the Illuminati symbol? Okay, yeah, this was 2009, and this was when everything on the YouTube was just pop culture obsessed with the Illuminati. It also falls into the story too, so, you know. Pack-a-Punch was the single biggest innovation for this map, and maybe zombies as a whole. But Pack-a-Punch was all I wanted to do with every single weapon. Pack-a-Punch made weapons stronger, but fun fact, it only made the raygun have more ammo. Pack-a-Punch added a cool skin to the guns, gave them new names, and for the raygun and wunderwaffe, made them shoot red. Pack-a-Punching a weapon may have been updated in future installments and took the concept of unlocking Pack-a-Punch much further, but here, it was mostly great. I say mostly because the wunderwaffe was actually a game ruiner for high rounds. If you wunderwaffed yourself, you would take damage and not recover health at all. Jug or not. Jug or not. I just realized that's a terrible pun. This was a glitch that was never patched in World at War, so suffering was the only way. My advice, pack a bunch of wall weapons so you can get close to it and keep getting ammo from it. Speaking of wall weapons, Riese had a new one, the Bowie knife. This could one melee zombies until round 9 and was expensive at 3,000 points, but melee weapon kills gave you more points for the kills, so it was the fastest way to get your points up. Riese struck a perfect balance for World at War, of training zombies for people that like to run trains, and camping zombies too. While Nacht and Verruckt were very claustrophobic and Shi No Numa was very open, Riese was outdoors for the attack and indoors for the camping. The most notorious train was in the right side labs with the furnace, and the most notorious camping spot, the catwalk, was with the rail and window for escape and shooting zombies down from above. This one was the most known, but the pro spot was a strategy of not opening the two left side doors ever and just funneling zombies into one core spot with one person holding a window. That window did have something in the distance though, and only with a pack-a-punched weapon, this happened. This was Samantha's hide and seek, and Samantha is a name you'll get accustomed to in zombies. The story of Samantha and the infancy of her character came from zombies sounding like they were saying Sam, and the community trying to come up with something. So Treyarch just leaned into that idea. Oh god, I love it. The spots for this hide and seek game were on the left side of the map in a cage. There was a teddy bear with a knife and juggernog. And it's kind of a sad sight seeing a perkaholic Teddy was here. But I want my Easter egg, so you gotta go, bud. The next spot was impossible to see. I mean, I don't think anything is even there. And the third, well, let's let Mr. Monkey Bomb handle this one. This was the first ever Easter egg that had steps involved in zombies, and the first one that wasn't just a song. But there was most definitely a great song here too. This one by interacting with the brains in a jar.
Hey, hey! I found something neat!
If you really searched the internet in 2009 and you wanted to find out more information on Samantha, you would find jump scare videos pretending to be tutorials. And subscribe! So not only was Der Riese the place for Pack-a-Punch and monkey bombs, it was also the origin of Easter eggs. It's only going up from here with these, and Der Riese's impact cannot be credited enough. What's interesting about Der Riese is that this wasn't supposed to be the end of World at War Zombies. In fact, Nacht Der Untoten, the first Black Ops map, was supposed to be a part of World at War since it's a Nazi theater, and it makes sense that it would be here and not in the Cold War era. What's even cooler is that there's a board of pictures on Der Riese that shows you future maps. It's hard to make up, but you can see Nacht Der Untoten, Ascension, Call of the Dead, and even Paris? Another really fascinating Easter egg for Der Riese is the marks on the moon, hinting to a future zombies map coming soon, but we'll get to that later. Another interesting development story is that there was supposed to be a new perk called Ammo-matic that was a perk machine to replenish ammo. I know it has balance issues, but it's cool to know where the devs' heads were at and why they would have scrapped this idea. Der Riese did so much for the series, and for me it came towards the end of one of the best summers I could have ever asked for as a kid. I love this map with my whole heart, and I know the remaster did this and all these maps justice in some way. So thank you, Der Riese, for being the giant that wrapped World at War Zombies in a bow.